basically means is the narrator has already finished high school, and now it feels like spring storm. Now, spring storm is actually important because it captures how people feel when they finish high school. So if you haven't finished high school, you always think that the feeling is positive or the feeling is negative. But in fact, what happens is most people who finish high school can tell you it's like a spring storm. Why is it like a spring storm? Because spring symbolizes like something new. When you finish high school, there's something that's going to be new. So it's either going for a job, TAFE, whatever. It is also storm. Why is a storm? Is because storm is like something that is chaotic. It's like a problem. Because once you finish high school, you don't know what problem would there be. So it could be unemployment, it could be like having to search for a job, it could be dealing with university, high school, finding house, whatever. All right. So what it basically means is that when the marker looks at it and say, okay, this person really understand what it means by finishing high school. Because the person here, it indicates that the experience itself, the feeling is spring storm. So this technique is known as pathetic fallacy. Now, pathetic fallacy is a technique that foreshadows what problem would happen because of the weather. Okay. So for example, like if I say that it's set in a castle and it's raining, and if there's a lot of if it's windy, then we know something bad will happen. If I say it's really bright, if it's very hot, if it's warm, the birds are chirping, then the mood will be happy. So the pathetic fallacy of spring storm basically foreshadows the problem that new graduates, or in this case, the narrator, will experience after graduation. Okay, what does that basically mean? When we look at how the story started off with the climax. How do we know it started off with the climax? Is because the use of the pathetic fallacy. The pathetic fallacy here shows that something bad would happen because the person or the new graduates will enter into something that is unknown. But at the same time, there's a sense of happiness. There's a sense of completion because of spring. So by using the pathetic fallacy, it foreshadows what the problem will be, the experience of being a new graduate. But at the same time, it tells us the structure. It starts off with the climax. So what does it mean for us as students? If we were to mimic this style, like similar to reading to write, if we have to mimic this style, it means that the way we start off would be something like this. We can start off with pathetic fallacy. It could also mean that we can start off by looking at the experience of how somebody feels when they finish something. And then when we look at the next bit, it says exam, graduation. Look at the types of sentences. So we have exams and then graduation. They are really short sentences, but they all capture experiences during high school. So first of all, there is the exams. After, when you pass the exams, what then happens? You have graduation. So the type of sentence that's being used is simple, but yet what it captures, there's the cause and effect. So it captures the progress in life. Why? After your exams, then you will have your graduation. After graduation, then you will have to start something new. So it really captures the experiences of being a new graduate. It captures the experiences of high school. What does that mean to us? It means that when we are writing a composition ourselves, we are not only dealing with the characters having to graduate. We are also dealing with how the setting has been used, spring storm. We are also dealing with the type of sentences, exams, and also graduation. So notice by even looking at the first three sentences, we already know what the experience will be. the experience will be bittersweet. How do we know it's bittersweet? It is because the pathetic fallacy has been used. And how do we also know it is going to be bittersweet? Because the short sentences has been used. All right. So what I'm going to get you guys to do again, if you guys want to try, is you can like continue on with the deconstruction and then look at the effect, like look at the way that I've annotated the excerpt, and then you can bump that, like bounce it to me. Do you think you guys will be okay to annotate it on your own, or do you guys want more practice? More practice? All right.
So you guys want more practice? Tomorrow, do you want to continue me deconstructing this, and then next week you guys can try? Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So we're going to continue to deconstruct this. You know, the best way is actually you guys deconstructing it and comparing with mine. That's the best way to do it. But next week, I do not want any of you guys to touch any English because you guys will burn out. All right. So tomorrow we'll deconstruct this as well. No, yes, guys. Next week, seriously, next week, absolutely do not touch any work. No, I don't have you. So tomorrow, this will be the last week we're gonna do Year 11 work. Next week you do absolutely nothing, and then after that it will be a lot of work. Okay. So otherwise, then I'm gonna